Today we're talking about a dead simple 3-ingredient recipe that makes some of our favorite cocktails. These are usually what we order when we go out. Let's get into them.
Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Erin.
I'm Josh. Thank you for joining us today. If you are new here, Erin is more of the social sipper. I'm more of a whiskey nerd. We've been doing some of these whiskey-based cocktail videos, and this one is going to be very close to home for us because this simple, super simple recipe makes some of our favorite cocktails. And like I said in the intro, it's what we usually order when we go out, and we will discuss why that is.
Yes.
Because you literally cannot mess this up.
Any bartender, any bartender can do this.
If they have the ingredients to make this, you are going to be set. We're going to make it in this glass. This is, I think I'm going to say that these are like, some people say that life is a bittersweet symphony.
Oh my gosh, I loved that song so much. Bittersweet symphony, this life. Okay, wow, sorry guys.
Yeah, but this is kind of a bittersweet cocktail in the profile of it, and we're going to build it right here in the glass. And I've got something set aside that's a little special treat, a little pro tip for you that's perfect if you're having company over or something like that, so that you can even cut out all of the stuff you're seeing on this video. So we're going to get into it. What we're making today is a Boulevardier, and these same ingredients, if you switch out the base spirit from bourbon to gin, makes a Negroni. And I fell in love with Negronis back in the day and turned you on to them.
You introduced them to me. Yeah, I'd never had a Negroni before, and it is definitely a bitter, I wouldn't even say bittersweet. It's a bitter drink, but I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
I think the Boulevardier is more bittersweet, whereas the Negroni kind of leans just more into the bitter side. But we're going to use Russell's 10. For the sweet vermouth in this recipe, we're going to use Campari Antica formula. It's worth paying more for this. This stuff kind of does violate one of our key factors for making cocktails at home, in that it does go bad. You have to refrigerate this stuff, and it lasts for about a month after you open it.
Okay.
Pro tip is to buy the 375 milliliter instead of the 750, so it doesn't go bad. But whatever bourbon you choose to use,
it will go bad. There'll be just less of it to go bad.
Right. So $20 for this. The bourbon, whichever you choose, that could range from 15 or 10 or 15 bucks all the way up to as much as you want. I am notorious for having people over and making Boulevardiers with very expensive whiskey, just because I think it's fun. And then we've got Campari, which is where the bitterness comes from. If you try this recipe and you don't like the Campari in it, you can swap that out for Aperol and see if that makes it a little bit more to your liking as far as the sweet goes. But about 35 bucks for this. I've got the stuff written down. So yeah, on balance, we're very budget minded when it comes to cocktails. We hate buying stuff that we're only going to use for one cocktail or we're not going to get a lot of use out of. So if you add all these up, and if you take the 375 at $20 and bump it up to 2, because once you open it, you got to refrigerate it, bump it up to 2, so you have 750 milliliters of all of these. It's about $100 in ingredients. If you use like a $25 bourbon, we're going a little bit higher than that here on this Russell's, 35 bucks. But ballpark, about $100 for the ingredients for this. Dead simple 3-ingredient cocktail.
How many cocktails does it make?
Well, in a 750 milliliter bottle, there's about a little over 25 fluid ounces, and you're going to use 1 ounce of each of these things to make a cocktail.
Okay.
So it, on balance, makes about a $4 cocktail at home.
Okay.
And when we go out here in downtown Nashville, if we get a Negroni or a Boulevardier, if we get one for $12, we got lucky.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Most of the time, they're 15 to 17 bucks, and they're super simple. Plus tip, plus parking, plus everything else. So
plus you have to leave your home.
Yeah.
And put on like outside clothes.
There's that too. So we're just going to build this in the glass. You can do it in a mixing glass. You can do it however you want to do it.
So how do you make this? Why is it so simple?
1 ounce of each of these. So 1 ounce of Russell's 10. We're going to use this because Campari owns this, and Campari owns Campari.
Oh, there you go. Go figure.
When I say this, I mean Wild Turkey, which is where Russell's is from. So we're going to use that. And I've also seen, for a period of time, they were selling kits. They were selling the Boulevardier kits that had Russell's 10.
Smart.
And I don't think it was Antica that was in it, but it was something as far as the sweet vermouth goes. And then the Campari. So we're just going to do 1 ounce of each of these.
Ooh, that's dark.
Yeah. And I really do think this recipe hinges on the vermouth, and I haven't found a better one than Antica for this recipe.
Okay.
That's why I recommend using it, but you can use anything else you want. The Noilly Prat is like a seemingly reasonable substitute, but once you figure out that it's just $4 per cocktail, I think it makes the quality of ingredients become a little bit more easy to stomach. So we just put this in the glass like this. We're gonna grab a little bar spoon and give her a little stir.
Oh,
making a mess here.
You're spilling.
And then you typically would garnish with an orange. A lot of times we don't have an orange.
Yeah.
So we don't garnish with anything.
Yeah, I did go out specifically and buy an orange. You know, let's be real. Yeah. For this, normally we don't have an orange, so normally we don't garnish it. But today we are, because we had one.
But we've had it plenty of times where it was not garnished and it was totally fine.
It's still good.
Just express some oil over the top of it. Give it a little run around on the rim there. And there you have it, a dead simple 3-ingredient recipe that you can't mess up. The reason we order this in bars is because these ingredients, like, it's 1 to 1. It's not like there's old fashions that are in the mix and people can play with the ratios and everything. There's only one way to make this, and there's only one set of ingredients. So you just request whatever vermouth you would like to be used, or maybe whatever whiskey base you'd like to be used. We're going to taste this in a minute, and I'm going to talk to you about my absolute favorite pro tip for this drink that makes it even easier and I think better. But before we get to sipping on this and trying those, we got to talk about our video sponsor, ZBiotics, because before we enjoy anything like cocktails or any drink served in a receptacle here on my shirt, we drink ZBiotics, and this is very simply a pre-alcohol probiotic that works on the buildup of enzymes, or it is an enzyme that works on the buildup of acetaldehyde, which is a thing that you do shake it, and then you just simply drink it before drinking. So it's that simple. Cheers. And it breaks down the acetaldehyde that's created by drinking alcohol on a gut level, scientifically engineered enzymes, and it helps you feel better the next day. Ain't nobody got time to be feeling bad the day after having some cocktails and some drinks with friends.
We're getting older. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Every time we go on a barrel pick or anytime we're in public with people and we bust out our ZBiotics,
they're like, oh, I didn't know if you actually did that in real life. Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do. We 100% do.
We don't just do it on videos.
And when we don't do it, we can feel it.
Yeah.
We can absolutely tell a difference in how we feel the next day. And we want to be feeling our best. We want to be able to enjoy ourselves the night before, but feel our best the next day. And ZBiotics helps us do that all the time. They're a video sponsor from time to time here, but we use them constantly and can't speak highly enough about them. We were skeptics turned believers. And I'll go ahead and say, if you sign up with the code on screen here, STUFF, and the link down in the video description, if you do the subscribe and save, that stacks on top of the subscription and you get more money off for your first month. So well worth checking out. And if it doesn't work for you for some reason, they have a money back guarantee, 100%, and they'll make good on that. So you don't even have to worry about it. It's no risk, high reward, feel your best. We're going into the holidays coming up. And we're all going to need a little help. So let's go ahead and get into this.
Yeah, let's do it.
And that was a nice little spot to let the ice melt a little bit and let the cocktail become a little bit more coherent.
I haven't had this in so long. So I will say,
it has been a minute since I made these.
If you are someone who likes sweet cocktails, if you like a cocktail because of the sweetness, this probably won't be for you. But if you, maybe like me, tend to like rye, maybe things that are not as sweet, you may love this if you've never had this before. I want one more sip.
Okay. She's not... Hard to pry these out of her hands. Usually don't make these where we share a glass. We usually have to have our own glasses.
He makes me my own because I request it. Typically, I'll share whiskey with him, but when he makes a Boulevardier, I need my own.
Man, I do think that there is a good bit of sweetness in there. You get the bitterness on the finish where the Campari really comes through. But again, you can adjust the Campari ratio down a little bit if you're making them at home, or you can substitute the Campari for Aperol. It's not technically a Boulevardier at that point, but you know what? We're not really big on rules around here. What I'm going to say now, and we're going to try a couple of options here. So I have
Is this the pro tip?
This is my pro tip here.
Okay.
I like to pre-mix these.
Because the ingredients are so like one to one.
We have these mason jars, and if you can see that orange slice floating in there, I like to pre-mix these with an orange slice or two already in there. Usually I buy these ingredients and fill up. We have these bigger 24-ounce mason jars. I fill that thing up with equal parts of these 3 ingredients, whether it's a Boulevardier or a Negroni.
And this will last a couple days in the fridge, right?
Oh, it'll last a while in the fridge. I mean, I'd fish the fruit out.
Yeah.
But the pre-mix with everything in there, it will last for quite a while. So I'm going to try to pour this without making a mess, which will be hard with the orange in there.
Wow. I'm impressed.
There we go.
We may have to share.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be some sharing involved here.
Okay.
And also have a Negroni. So you're going to get a little 2-for-1 here. So the Negroni is the exact same recipe. It just has gin in place of the bourbon. And let's see if I can pour this without making a mess. And there we go. So, all right. So what I want to do now, since we've got this one that we just made, you've got the exact same recipe that has been pre-made. Okay. So we can try that next to that. And we can also try the Negroni as well. So help yourself. See if the extra time with the orange sitting in there made much of a difference. I might need to refresh my memory on this one.
Oh, it definitely did. This tastes actually very citrusy.
Yeah. It adds a little bit more citrusy sweetness in there that I think
citrusy,
offsets the Campari a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of like the Campari.
I know, you would like the more bitterness, but I think a lot of our viewers will like a sweeter edge to this, and you can make the traditional recipe like this with pre-soaked orange. So
I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of people will like that. I like it as well. It is good. But for some reason, when I want this flavor profile, like I don't want it messed with. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I think what that adds, and I've never done this side by side, I usually just know if we're going to have company over, and I know that our company likes cocktails, I'll pre-mix that the night before, so I'm not having to mix up stuff when we have company. I think what that tastes like, the difference here, is like the difference in like an old-fashioned and a barrel-aged old-fashioned. It adds a little bit more richness and depth and cohesion to the profile. It does tame the bitterness down, and it tames that brightness down. It makes it a little bit more darker and richer.
I will say that. Yeah. And if you pre-mix it and you don't add the orange slice, that could also be a good option too, where you only add the orange slice at the end or not at all. And maybe you don't get that citrusy, but you get the cohesion of the ingredients.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an option.
By the way, I always like to garnish for whatever reason with an orange slice in these. I just think it looks good and it takes up some more space in the glass.
We're not professionals. I'm sure that's probably wrong, but
let's get into the Negroni and ladies first, of course. So
I'll switch you.
The only difference here is that you sub out the base spirit. Now,
I can smell the gin.
We've done like Monkey 47 and all kinds of different gin. You can play with that as well. Honestly, Tanqueray is great for these. It works well. Maybe that's just what my palate is used to, but I like the clean taste of Tanqueray in one of these when I'm having a Negroni.
I have a thought. I think so you pre-made this one as well.
I did.
And I think the soaking of the orange slice in the Negroni does a better job than in the Boulevardier. In the Boulevardier, I think the soaked citrus stands out too much, whereas in the Negroni, I think it blends everything together.
Yeah. And that could be just a difference of opinion as well, because like I said, I do prefer this to the fresh. Well, I wouldn't say I prefer it to the freshly made one. I would just say they're slightly different.
I need you to try that though and see.
And I like both of them.
See if you think the citrus. You know, sometimes things can like bring things together and make it more cohesive, and sometimes things stand out.
Yeah. There it is. And you get it's the way that the gin and the Campari play on the back end together that is really nice in a Negroni. I really like that a lot.
Wow.
Again, the reason that we do these as going out drinks, when we can, because not every bar has Campari, although I feel like it's more common these days. But if you're in a restaurant or kind of a nice bar, they're probably going to have Campari. And I always ask for Antica for the sweet vermouth. The reason we order these is it's, again, 1:1:1. All the ingredients are pure. It's not like there's even a simple syrup or sweetener that's involved here. You're just getting pure ingredients, pure cocktail. It literally cannot be messed up by any bar. And when we're out and we're paying $12 to $18 for a cocktail, we would much prefer to have something that isn't going to get messed up than something that potentially could be messed up. So,
correct.
Yeah, hopefully you like this. If you've tried these, let us know down below what you think about them. If you have any interesting twists, like subbing out the Campari for Aperol or any other kind of tweaks on these recipes that we could try ourselves, we'd love to hear it, because we always like to play around with cocktails. Like I said, when it comes to this sort of stuff, we're a little bit irreverent. We don't really care about the rules regarding cocktails. As long as it tastes good at the end of the day, we're happy with that.
Yep.
Hopefully you liked this video, and if you did like it, think about subscribing to the channel. We are doing more cocktail content all the time over here, as well as a bunch of blind tastings to give you unbiased opinions. And if you like what we do and you're looking for an online community to call home full of good people who like good whiskey as well as good cocktails, then you should check out our Patreon. There's a link in the video description. You can get signed up for as little as $3 a month, which gives you access to our Discord, which is where we have our cocktail corner, a bunch of whiskey chat, sample swaps, people helping people find bottles, all sorts of stuff.
Absolutely.
We release our barrel picks over there. Have a blast.
Yep, it's a good time.
And then you can check out stuffandwhiskey.com for shirts like this
Merch,
one,
yeah.
glassware, all sorts of stuff. Aaron's Cozy Corner with the holidays around the corner. You should check out Aaron's Cozy Corner. And there's all kinds of stuff down in the video description. You should check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. That's it for today. Be good to each other, y'all. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers. They work well for a reason. They're just good old classic standbys.
Is it sacrilege for me to say I think I might like this gin cocktail slightly better today?
No, I mean, not at all.
It's the citrus, the way the gin and the orange slice play with each other.
Yeah.
Is just hitting me right today.
Well, I mean, it's, again, the same 3 base ingredients. Well, the same, it's a 3 ingredient recipe, but 2 of the ingredients stay the same. The gin just gets swapped out. I like them both. It just depends on
good.
It depends on my mood. If I wanted to lean more towards like the sweet side, I'd do a Boulevardier. If I want to lean towards that kind of like bitter tart side, I go with the Negroni.
They're both good. It's like picking a favorite child. Although we only have one, so it's pretty easy.
This is really good. This to me tastes closer to the Negroni rather than the orange soaked pre-mixed Boulevardier.
Yeah, I can see that.
It bridges that gap a little bit more. So,
Wow.
Yeah, tons of fun.
That was pretty tasty. Can I save these for later?
Yeah.
Or are you going to want one?
No, for $4.
$4 a cocktail, and we don't even have to put on real clothes. Even better.
That's a win-win.